It's time for the 420 Radio News, covering the latest headlines in consumer cannabis, medical marijuana, and industrial hemp. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available daily on our website at 420radio.org. Now, here's Priscilla Simon.
Hi, so this is your 420 Radio News for Thursday, June 19th, 2014. Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, and Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, have teamed up to sponsor an appropriations amendment to defund DEA raids in medical marijuana states. The amendment mirrors a similar one passed by the U.S. House that forbids any spending of taxpayer money by the Department of Justice to thwart the implementation of medical marijuana laws. This would curtail DEA raids of lawful dispensaries, U.S. Attorney's prosecution of lawful growers, and Department of Justice threats against landlords and state officials. These amendments signal a radical shift in federal attitudes toward medical marijuana, as now 22 states have passed such laws. 4 out of 5 Democrats and 3 in 5 Republicans support legal medical marijuana, and over 2/3 of both parties' voters believe enforcing marijuana laws costs more than they are worth.
Wow, really good news here, and it just makes me so happy because, you know, we tried getting that Hinchy-Rohrabacher amendment passed 6 different times through the House. Finally, it passed this year. I think it was like 219 to 189, a huge shift. We had a lot of Republicans switch over to support the bill, and when it passed, the prohibitionists and the rehabitionists out there on Twitter, particularly Kevin Sabet and Christine Tatum, were dancing a jig over the fact that they had inside information that this would get killed in the Senate, that there was no way it was going to continue in the Senate. There was a fix. There was going to be a fix for this in the Senate. It wasn't going to get through. And guess what? Today we get our fix in the Senate. Rand Paul and Cory Booker sponsoring the exact same amendment on the Senate side. It's a beautiful thing. I just love it. It's just amazing. And this just shows how quickly attitudes are changing at the federal level. I mean, it only took, 22 states to have medical marijuana before they finally changed. But the attitudes are changing. And some of these people in the Republican Party are beginning to realize that if they continue on being seen as the anti-medical marijuana party, that's just going to cause them electoral problems in the future.
On today's last legislative session day, there appears to be a compromise bill that would make New York the 23rd medical marijuana state. Advocates for medical marijuana gave in to Governor Andrew Cuomo's demand that no smoking should be allowed. Patients will be allowed to use edibles and tinctures and to vaporize marijuana. The bill sponsored this week said prohibition of smoking was a, quote, non-starter, but caved when it became clear the governor would not budge. Ironically, the governor had proposed his own more severely restrictive medical marijuana bill program earlier in the year that did not prohibit smoking. Advocates also conceded to the elimination of most of the qualifying conditions they'd approved medical marijuana for, like lupus, diabetes, and post-concussion syndrome, leaving only cancer, HIV and AIDS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, epilepsy, neuropathic disease, and multiple sclerosis. The law is a pilot program that will expire in 7 years, but the governor can cancel the program at any time upon the recommendation of the state health commissioner or the state police superintendent. It will take 18 months for the law to go into effect if signed, and it will mandate only 5 companies to grow and distribute medical marijuana statewide.
Yeah, but we gotta win. This is so frustrating. What has been set now is a precedent for every medical marijuana state moving forward from here to not allow smoking. That's what it's going to be from now on. Medical marijuana is no smoking. You can mark my words on this. That is the precedent that will be set, and that's the way it's going to go from here on out. The governor here has proven that the political hostage taking that we used to use, how dare you not vote for this? How could you not be compassionate? Has been turned around and used against us. Now the governors through all these states know that they can pick apart every little bit of a medical marijuana bill. There's nothing they can take out of it that advocates won't don't roll over on. That's what's been shown in New York today. They earlier this week said banning smoking was a non-starter. Well, it's gone. It's apparently a starter. That one's been taken away. Covering lupus and diabetes and post-concussion syndrome, we can throw that away too, because we just got to get a win. A pilot program that expires in 7 years. A pilot program, because, you know, after 7 years of these people getting their medical marijuana and understanding how well it works for them and radically changing their lives, there should be a chance that that's taken from them. We should make sure that there's a chance that can go away. And not just in 7 years. Did you catch that part about being able to pull the plug on the program at any time upon the recommendation of the state health commissioner or the state police superintendent? Gee, do you think the state police superintendent is going to raise any objections to the medical marijuana program? Hell yes, they will. It'll be the first recommendation. It'll take 18 months to put this thing into practice. You can bet on the 18th month and 1 day, the police commissioner will be complaining about it and demanding the governor to pull the plug. And gee, 5 whole companies to grow and dispense medical marijuana for a state of 20 million people. Yeah, good job there, advocates. What a hell of a medical marijuana bill you passed there.
Yesterday, when we reported on the Council's committee hearing for a North Carolina CBD-only bill, now that bill has passed and the North Carolina That bill has passed the North Carolina House and awaits action from the Senate. The committee that had canceled its meeting on Tuesday met on Wednesday and unanimously passed HB 1220 and sent it to the House Finance Committee. That second committee passed the bill this morning. The full House heard the bill this afternoon and passed it in a 111-2 vote. The bill would allow the use of high CBD/low THC cannabis oil only for people suffering from intractable epilepsy. It would not be available for epileptic children, only adults 18 years of age or older. The epileptic adult must have first been evaluated by a neurologist and must first have tried at least 3 non-cannabis treatment options before being allowed to try non-psychoactive CBD oil. Patients would also have to pay $50 to be tracked in a state database accessible to law enforcement.
Yeah, and there's your flip side, right? You take a look at New York State, where for year after year after year after year, they pass something through the assembly. They can't get it through the Senate. The governor says he's going to veto it. We have to tear apart every little provision. We have to take smoking out. We have to make all these concessions after all these years to finally get a watered down whole plant medical marijuana bill through New York. Meanwhile, North Carolina can put a CBD-only bill into a committee on Wednesday and have it pass the House 111-2 by Thursday. 1 day to get that thing passed. I'm going to take a real deep look at this in the Radical Rant. Stay tuned for that at the end of the show. The disaster of CBD-only legislation, to kind of examine, why do you think these laws go through so fast while whole plant medical marijuana takes forever? I'll give you all of that in the rant coming up next.
The Philadelphia City Council voted 13-3 today to decriminalize marijuana. If signed by the mayor, possession of an ounce or less of marijuana would only be subject to a $25 civil fine. All 13 council Democrats supported the measure, and all 13 Republicans opposed it. The mayor expressed concerns voiced by law enforcement, district attorneys, and the court system, but would not say whether he'll sign the measure. The council now goes into recess for the summer, giving the non-committal mayor time to think about signing or vetoing the measure, which the council has the votes necessary to override. The bill's sponsor says the veto-proof majority means that the mayor ought to have police adhere to the policy immediately in order to save the city a few hundred pot arrests over the summer.
You know, a lot of thanks have to go out to Philly Normal, the activist group there in Philadelphia that has for years been lobbying the city council on this issue. They are the ones to first point out that it was something like 88% of the arrests for marijuana in Philadelphia were African-American men. And that has done wonders in in pointing out this racial disparity and the insanity of marijuana criminalization in Philadelphia. They then put together some reports showing how much money is being spent, some $4 million a year between the police and the court systems in the city of Philadelphia to process all those misdemeanor marijuana arrests. Should this stick and we end up with decrim of an ounce for just a $25 fine, Philadelphia's decrim would be much like Washington, D.C.'s decrim with just a $25 fine. Good thing they got the veto-proof majority. I can't see why the mayor would oppose signing this unless, of course, like others, he's in the back pocket of law enforcement and other lobbyists. But this is really good news for one of America's largest cities with one of the greatest disparities in the racism of arrests.
The effort by marijuana prohibitionists to turn recent medicated edible stories into the reefer madness scare of the 2010s appears to be failing. In a new Huffington Post/YouGov poll, only 14% of respondents thought that eating a, quote, marijuana brownie was more dangerous than smoking marijuana, while 22% said neither smoking nor eating marijuana was particularly dangerous. Another 39% said smoking or eating marijuana was equally dangerous. But when comparing that perceived danger to alcohol use, very few people think marijuana is the greater danger. Only 8% of respondents thought smoked marijuana was more dangerous than alcohol, and only 11% thought eating marijuana was more dangerous than alcohol. Those who think alcohol is more dangerous came in at 41% versus smoked marijuana, and 42% versus eaten marijuana.
Well, this is an interesting poll, and I'm really glad to see it come out this way. I guess you could look at this a couple ways. I actually do think eating marijuana is more dangerous than smoking marijuana, but it's a danger of 1 in a million versus 2 in a million, right? It's like very little danger in either one, but there is the added risk when you're eating marijuana of not immediately knowing how much you're getting into your system and then maybe overeating it and having a bad experience. But is that a danger? Well, not a danger in the sense that you're gonna, overdose and die, from the toxicity of it or anything. But you might end up like Maureen Dowd and, have an unpleasant experience that's not too fun. So that's not, I don't really call that a danger, but as far as how you use the product, I think it's easier. Let's say it's easier to use smoked marijuana than it is to use eaten marijuana. And unless, you're going overboard with it, you really shouldn't have very many problems. And the way that the people are responding to this and not taking it as some sort of big reefer madness scare that means we need to, back up on marijuana legalization, but rather the idea that, hey, this is something new. It's going to take people some getting used to. There's going to take some education. We're going to have these, better labeling and explanations from the bud tenders. And there's no reason this can't move forward. I mean, my God, if we can trust people with downing shots of tequila, we can certainly trust them with learning how to handle a marijuana brownie or two.
Yeah.
All right, folks, it's 20 after the hour. It's 4:20 out there in Colorado. So Priscilla has some very, very important safety meeting work to attend to. Thanks for the news, Silly. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we're going to go behind the headlines and take a look at the National Institutes of Drug Abuse and what they consider to be therapeutic studies on the use of cannabis. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org.
420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects